before we start shading actual objects, let's practice our shading by creating a value scale. Now, before you even touch this exercise, you want to make sure your pencils are sharpened absolutely correctly, because if they're not, this is going to be an absolute struggle. The other thing is, if your pencils are kind of on the shorter side, it'll really help to have some pencil extenders. So I've got some stumpies here. Let's put them in pencil extenders. This one, this one. The other three will probably be okay. So I've got my full range of pencils. I've got HB, 2B, 4B, 6B, and full disclosure, I've got a 9B pencil here. It's very close to 8B. It'll work just fine. Now, I'm also going against my advice of maintaining the same brand loyalty. So these are all a bunch of different brands, but I've tried them already. They're all European brands. They tend to have a fairly consistent degree of hardness. What will mix you up is if you have an Asian brand, so like a Tombow pencil. Anyway, make sure that your pencils are consistently softer as they go towards the higher ends of the B scale. Okay, here's how this works. We're going to leave this white. We're going to end up absolutely as dark as we can go with graphite. Now, graphite's not going to go completely black because it's kind of a silvery material, but we're going to go as dark as we can. Start off with your HB pencil. That's going to be this guy right here. Let me just make sure. Yes. Nope, this is my 2B. Excuse me. Where's my HB? This is my HB. Make sure your pencils are absolutely polished. All right. So once again, to do that, make sure the pencil's properly sharpened. Right. Pick a side. I usually pick text side up, and work the pencil against the paper until I go from something that looks like scratches or lines to something that looks like a really soft, fuzzy stroke. I'm holding my pencil very flat against the paper. I'm actually letting it glide against one of my fingernails, usually this one, so my middle finger. It could be your pinky as well. So yes, I am allowing my hand to touch the paper. You can let it float, but I find that you've got more control over the pressure if you let your finger touch. And it's not going to smear that much, particularly if you're careful. Okay. You want to approach shading as if you're building up layers of graphite, layers of particles. So instead of putting down pressure, I'm going to put one layer down, another layer down, another layer down, and let the particles of graphite build up little by little and go darker. So that's the main key, is to be really patient, apply consistent degrees of pressure, and most importantly also, apply a consistent stroke. So I'm going to start by leaving this white. Hold my pencil way, way back like this, and just barely put down the absolutely lightest stroke imaginable here. So this is very light gray. I'm not even sure the camera's picking this up. Maybe. I hope so. Okay, keep the strokes very close together. If you see any separation of strokes at all, two things. Make sure that the pencil is, once again, polished, so it's creating a flat stroke. And make sure that you're keeping your strokes close enough together so that you're not seeing separation like this. Again, if the pencil is sharpened correctly, this should not be a problem. This should be really easy. Okay, so we've got a light gray here. Now I'm going to start building up the value a little bit, right next to it, going a little bit darker, applying another layer, working all the way down. I'm being a little bit sloppy here, but you know, try to stay within the box. All right, apply another layer. At this point, I'm not really interested in the direction of the stroke, so you can create a stroke in any direction you want. Because the strokes are close together, you're not going to see that direction. So right now, work at the angle that is sort of optimal for your shoulder, which is probably about 45 degrees. Okay, so probably this part, the outer fourth, is going to be just HB pencil. HB pencil. At this point, right about here, we're going to switch to our 2B pencil. So that's going to be this guy here. Once again, make sure the pencil is properly polished. Hold it way back like this. This is where the pencil extender becomes really handy. And apply another coat. So we're here, keep note, try to keep note anyway, and apply another coat. Again, I'm trying to always blend the next coat into the previous one, right? So that there's an absolutely smooth transition. What you don't want is some kind of bump in value where it goes from lighter to abruptly darker, right? If you're starting to see the strokes build up a direction, so you're starting to see, okay, it's going clearly diagonal this way, right? Just change the direction of your stroke slightly, maybe 10 degrees. It'll just break up the pattern and keep the shading flat and smooth. Does the shading always need to be flat and smooth? No, it doesn't in a drawing, right? So we see plenty of drawings where the artist is deliberately hatching or creating all kinds of strokes, gestural strokes, expressive strokes. But I want you guys to practice smooth shading. That's a really important part of your training. Okay, so let's apply another layer here, like this. So to this point, we're going to go 2B. So, excuse me, this is HB. It's too light to see, right? This is 2B. And right about in the middle here, you should be switching to your 4B pencil. Where's my 4B pencil? Here's my 4B pencil. All right, let's polish it. Again, I always choose text side up, but you decide. Look, you can also polish the entire pencil. This way, you don't have to worry about which side is up, but that takes much longer. Okay, so I'm going to speed up a little bit here. You guys take your time. Keep the shading smooth. Again, if the pencil is sharpened correctly, this happens very quickly. If it's not, if you're sloppy, then this is going to be a struggle. You might have to do this more than one time. You might. Okay, so probably better to be patient, slow down a little bit, do it right the first time. Sorry guys, unfortunately the camera's not really picking this up. I'll take a photo of this, or maybe switch the camera angle so that it's a little bit clearer. Graphite's slightly shiny. We're not going to have a problem with this when we start doing charcoal. Because charcoal is a more matte material. Let's see if I can just tilt this up a little bit. Okay, that's kind of emphasizing the roughness here. Okay. Okay, so kind of building up the value little by little. Okay, let's put down one more value here. So again, one layer, another layer, another layer, another layer. I'll have to take a photo of this and paste it to the end of the video because it's not really coming out very well through my webcam. Okay, so right about here, we're going to switch to our 6B pencil. Excuse me, this should be 4B, right in the middle. 6B should be here. Where's our 6B? This is 9B. Okay, our 6B is here. So we're going to start right about here or so, like this. You'll find that shading with your softer pencil is just much easier. In fact, most of my drawing, I'll start off with a 4B and work my way down. I don't even bother with the 2B pencils. With practice, you can start getting enough control with the pressure that you don't have to worry about working too dark. Especially with graphite. You know, graphite doesn't really go that dark anyway, really. It's sort of an overall low contrast material. And of course, you can always hit areas that you've previously gone over with 4B with your 6B pencil. I'm just trying to even out the value scale a little bit, make sure it's more even. Okay, so one more layer. And by the way, if you want to put more pressure down, you can always sneak your fingers further up, but that increases the chances that you're going to leave a stroke. So again, probably instead of putting more pressure down, I recommend just going over it more times. But I will, towards the end, start to sneak my fingers a little further up and start to increase the pressure in the stroke. Okay, so we're done with our 6B, and then a little bit of a bump. We're going to switch to our 9B. This should be 8B, but really our 9B pencil will do the job just as well, if not better than 8B, really. Oh, it broke. Okay, look, that's something that happens with these softer pencils, particularly if they're mishandled. So let's see if I can sharpen this quickly. Yeah, you see it's it's breaking on me. This pencil has been shattered all the way through, probably. If it breaks again, I'll just finish this drawing with a 6B pencil. You can. That is, yeah, you see how it keeps crumbling on me? Let me see if I can quickly find an alternative here. As opposed to having to stop the video, which I don't want to do. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Oh, okay, this is a Tombow. So Tombow 8B. Let's sharpen it quickly. Yeah, guys, store your pencils well. I've got a bunch of old pencils that have been through many moves, seen many things, mishandled by me, probably, dropped. So, lesson learned, right? To take care of your supplies. All right, so here's our Tombow pencil. Yeah, it goes really dark. Okay, this is officially an 8B. So, not a 9B, 8B here. Okay, and let's do this. And one more layer. Let's see how dark we can actually go with this. You know, I'm finding this 8B Tombow pencil not to be that much softer than its equivalent in like Prismacolor or Staedtler. But it's a weird thing, you know, so maybe at the softer level it's the same, but in the middle levels it's different. You know, the Tombows are softer. That's been my experience anyway. Okay, so there's the exercise. Again, I did it quickly. You guys slow down, make sure it's done correctly. If you screw up, do it again. In fact, I recommend doing this exercise a couple of times because it's going to get you familiarized with shading. It's going to teach you how to control the pressure, be patient, and then once we're done with this, I'll show you guys how to render a sphere, how to shade a sphere correctly.